Face to face, finally friends everywhere. Ham-fest fever, catch it if you can. This weekend in the life of a radio fan. Forums and seminars, new tech on display. Hands-on with the gear in the good old way. Licensing tests, camaraderie high. Unique finds and good times under the sky. Ham-fest fever, we're keeping it alive. Rock and ride. Vendors showing shiny new rigs that gleam. Digital modes and gadgets living the dream. Touch 'em, try 'em, compare side by side. Food trucks and contests, what a wild ride. Talk with the experts, learn something new. Community buzzing, the ham radio crew. Yeah, attendance is down, some tables look bare. Oh God, grumbling, but we're still there. Ham-fest fever, we love it just the same. Even with the junk piles and the slower game. Some clubs feel clicky, new gear cost a ton. The deals on used stuff still get the job done. Resistance to change, we're bringing the youth. Ham-fest fever, we're keeping the truth. Big in the sumo. We know it ain't perfect, the crowd's getting thin. Too much old junk that nobody wants in. But one good find, one new friend you meet makes the whole day feel complete. Ham-fest fever, we're not giving up. Flea market magic, filling our cup. Young blood and old timers side by side, keeping the spirit nationwide. Ham-fest fever, through thick and through thin. Amateur radio, let the good times spin. Ham-fest fever, forever will stay. Rocking the convention, the ham radio way. See you next year. Bring your wallet and smile. Ham-fest fever, going strong all the while.
All right, hello everybody. This is the Sights and Sounds of Earth. My name's Ian, and we are live tonight in Starship Studios in Southwest Florida, where it's still a little warm here, but that will be ending shortly as the cold front is just about to make its way down through the center of the peninsula here and into South Florida. The cold weather is coming. They've put out the alerts down here. The Salvation Army is opening its shelters because we have a more of a homeless population here in the winter, because they come down here to get to the warmth, and then all of a sudden we get these real cold temperatures. So we've got the Salvation Army, we've got our local homeless shelters, both secular and non-secular, are all pitching in because believe it or not, in the next couple of nights, we are going to have nights in the upper 30s. Good evening, Carlotta, who's going to have nights right around freezing coming up in the next few days. Hey, Gator. Hey, neighbor. Let's see. Hey, Heath, what's up? Isn't that a great song about Hamfests? Made that with AI. I tweaked the lyrics a little bit out of Grok, and then I had Suno make the song. And it was based on, I'm trying to think what band that was based on. It might have been Linkin Park or one of those, but yeah, that was a really good song. That and more playing right now over on Starship After Dark, which is where we are doing a soft launch of my ham radio station over there called Pile Up Radio, and you can kind of get a sneak peek of that. We've got about 46 songs on there, 48 songs, something like that right now, that are looping, and they'll loop through, and you can hear it, see what's going on. All right, so right now, I got a camera locked up. I'm having cameras locking up on me. I don't know why. Anyway, let's go ahead and go to our grid. This is the grid for tonight. And there you go. You know, maybe it's because I have so many damn cameras hooked up to one computer. I mean, it could be that. Maybe. No. There we go. All right. It's ready for next time we go back to it. Okay, so there we go. Anyway, what we've got going on tonight, we've got some kind of press conference going on up there. I'm not sure what that's all about. I do have the captioning on there. Also, we got Fox Weather up on the upper right there. And they are showing images there. I don't believe any of that was live, that they were just showing. Also, we got one storm chaser out. Not a lot of storm chasing going on tonight. I got one storm chaser out, and that's Keystone Prime Media. They're there in the center. So show them a little bit of love. And then, like I said, I got Fox Weather, Fox, and then Fox Now. And then where they're setting up for the big festivities here in 2 nights. They're already starting to set up here in Times Square, and you can see that right here as they are starting to get things going. I don't have the radio in yet. I'm gonna bring it in before I go to bed tonight. All right, guys. Here comes the honesty. I'm buck tired tonight. I'm done. I'm gonna do about an hour, and I'm going to bed. I hate to sound like an ass, but I got up at 4 o'clock this morning. Didn't want to get up. I felt like crap. I went in and produced the show. Went and spent the day with Mom. Got her appointments out of the way. And then I went back to work and produced the afternoon show. And then I came here and I had to feed up and do everything I have to do here. And I haven't even got my radio out of the car yet. I normally take that out on Sunday before the show. So I'm running way behind. I got the computer. I got all of the hardware out of the car. Guys, it's a lot to set up. I'm working on ways to maybe not streamline, not downsize. That's a bad word. Streamline what I'm doing a little bit, because it is very difficult. I need to make some kind. I want to build a deck that will fit in there perfectly, and it will have all the mounts and all the wires and all the things already mounted on it and everything. So that way I can just pull the whole thing out and bring it in the shack and stick it over on the table. And it'll have the laptop and the screen and all the, it'll have all the different things, and the battery. There'll be a spot for the big battery to fit down in there. By the way, this big battery was at 90% charge. Remember, I told you I've been testing this battery. Because they say that it is, they said it's 100,000 milliamp hours or some crazy shit. But I've been very impressed. 19%. I mean, I ran 2 phones, LED light strip for lighting, the tablet charger, the extra screen. So I had 5 things plugged into it, and they ran all weekend. They were plugged into it all weekend for about 60 hours, and then I unplugged it and brought it back in, and it's at 19%. So this is an amazing piece of equipment. something I recommend. You don't need one that big, but these batteries have gotten pretty good. They're pretty cheap. The only thing I recommend, and I'm a little weird about this, I don't leave things charging when I'm not home. These batteries tend to explode when they're charging. I know that's a little scary, but it's not. Don't let it be. But if you got cats in the house, especially, you don't want to do something that might burn your house down, especially whether you got cats or not, or dogs or whatever else, but even just your house. You want to make sure. So what I do, I don't leave anything charging when I leave. I leave TVs on. Sometimes I leave monitors on. I leave computers all running. But I won't leave one of these phones or one of these devices charging. And so I will spend the next 4 or 5 days charging this, because it'll take 24 hours to fully recharge it back up again. Yeah, the Crofts are great. McKinney, both great storm chasers. I didn't see them out tonight, but if I see them pop up, Connor Croft, we've been covering him for a long time. That's why anytime I do storm chasers, especially, I put their name right on the screen, because I want people to go find them, and I want them to find us. I want it to be, I want to drive people to their website too. That's all part of it. Yeah, they were out last night late, but there's nothing really going on, guys. There's the map. We've got a bunch of snow up in way up going. I mean, we're talking most of it's out of the country at this point. I mean, a lot of this is in like Nova Scotia and shit. Here's Fredericton. You got all this. This is the end of our country right here. So, and it looks to me like we've got just a little bit of snow left, and it will be all pretty much out of the United States. And then behind that, we just have light snow all through the middle here. Look at this, man. Look at the lake effect snow, guys. Look at the lake effect snow. Holy shit, this is textbook. This should be in a textbook. Look at this. The snow forms out over the water, okay, and then it moves inland. You guys see that? It looks like a little waterfall. And the same thing here. It forms out over the water, certain conditions, and then it moves inland. This is dropping a lot of snow. I mean, this is a huge deal right here. Each one of these will drop feet of snow up there, and this is a lot going on. You can even see this right here. This is all lake effect, and this whole streamer here. This is all lake effect. I'm doing that South Park thing where I'm going to start drawing phallic symbols. But let me get out of this for a second and move it up. I want to show you down here, because that's down here. There's Buffalo right there. You see where we're at? There's Cleveland, Detroit. Look at this lake effect snow coming off of this one here. That is a lot. I mean, this whole lake is producing snow, and it's moving it on land. Boy, that was terrible. I must be drunk. But you can sure see that lake effect snow. It is really, to me, that is an amazing scientific effect right there. There's also here as well. Looks like there is all kinds of neat stuff going on here with this radar right here that you're looking at. But the coolest thing is absolutely the lake effect snow. Way up here, look at it way up here. This is the best one. As far as seeing it form and everything, look at that. Let's get this on the local radar and take a look at it, what it looks like on the local radar site out of Marquette. There, you can see it. It's a big effect. It doesn't even all fit on one radar site. Look at that. So you can now, let's take this 14 frames and let's take it out. Let's take it out 75 frames, and we'll watch this and see how it's formed up. All right, let's try. Look at this. This is 50 frames. Now, if you lived right here, if you lived in Munsing, or Munsing, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. If you lived right there, how much snow do you think you got on your house right now? This is 6 hours. Let's go out 9 hours. Oh my God, that's 9 hours. Let's go out. Let's go out 200 frames. That's going to be. Let me see. It'll tell me here in just a second. This goes all the way back to 2 a.m. This is the storm leaving last night. That was the big snow event that went through last night. So they've already got a bunch of snow on the ground. And boom, the lake effect comes right in behind it. Lake effect snow starts about 9 o'clock this morning. And look at this. It just goes and goes and goes and goes. It doesn't stop. But you can drive 50 miles away and there's no snow. It's just right over these same areas. This is 200 frames of radar right here. This is actually about 18 hours worth of radar imagery. And there's the storm going by, and then it leaves the cold behind, and that's the lake effect snow. Such an amazing piece of science right there. Here, we can run this, I'll run this back to 75 frames. Man, that's a lot, isn't it? Look at that. There's some heavier areas too. I mean, look at this swath right here. I mean, there's some areas here that have probably gotten some really big accumulation. And watch this area right here. Because it gets these two spots right here, because of the way the lake is. See, there's a lot of distance between here and where it's starting. So that gives it a lot of room. Same thing here. There's a lot of distance between here and here. So it's allowing it to build up quite a bit of it as it's coming in, where these other ones don't quite have as much distance across. So that's why we're really getting some big accumulation up here. Look at that. I mean, you could imagine what, you know, that's a moderate to heavy snowfall, and it's been going on for 12, 14, 18 hours in some of these cases. So and then there's another storm coming behind this one. All right. Oh, that's cool, Deploribus. I've never heard of that, but that's really cool. Oh, yeah, up the Upper Peninsula of Michigan is buried. Yeah, snow in New York. Yep. Yeah, this system's come all the way across, and there's another one coming behind it. We're still getting the tail end of this system down here, and that's what's going to end up dipping our temperatures down to almost freezing. Yeah, you just had the normal blizzard, huh? Just a run-of-the-mill deal. Alrighty. Well, let's see what else is going on here. Whew, okay. There's not a whole lot going on in different places. I've been looking around for what news I wanted to cover tonight. It's a very slow news day. At work today. Yeah, yeah, I know. Tell me about it. It's a regular blizzard down here in a couple days. Um, All right, so I want to tell you a story. So this morning I got to get up and go into work early. I leave my house a little before 5 o'clock. I'm driving down the road, and you guys know I don't have a lot of tolerance for the government when they're doing stupid shit, right? So anyway, I driving down the road, and everything's cool. I get to my work, and there's cop cars all in front of my work, and I mean shitloads of cop cars. Probably 7, 8 cop cars. Fort Myers police, right? I'm like, oh God, what are they doing? And they got this one poor guy up against the fence, and he looks scared to death. And he's got his car parked in a parking lot, and it looks like it's broke down. It's, like I said, 5:10 in the morning, whatever, at that point. So I stop, and I got my blinker on, and I can't get in because they've got one of the cop cars blocking the only entrance to my work, and blocking not only our guest parking lot, blocking our input gate and our outgoing gate, and that's it. We're completely cut off from the world. So I get there, and I pull up, put my blinker on, and I sit there, I'm like, are they gonna move? They're all standing around talking. You know, that's another thing. They weren't like busy searching a car. They weren't doing anything. They weren't making phone calls. They weren't doing paperwork. All I saw was all the cops were standing around talking, except one that was standing over with the guy up against the fence, and that's it. They were just talking. And so I'm like, okay, what do I do, right? So I drive down, I turn around, and drive back up again. I drive down the other way, I turn around, I see several of my other coworkers are doing the same thing because we don't know what to do. The only place to park is to pull into an out against signs that say do not enter, and then snake your car in and turn around. There was a couple of spots left there. That's in our guest spot in the front. So I'm like, I don't want to make an illegal turn and all that shit in front of them. So I turn around and I go back by again. I turn my blinker on. I stop in front of the place. I'm sitting there, and I roll my window down, and I try talking to them. And I'm like, hey, are you guys going to be opening our gate up soon? We got to get to work. And they literally just turned around and gave me their ass. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. They literally just turned around, like rude. I'm like, son of a bitch. So I'm like, all right. So I go down, I turn around, I come back up. I say, screw it. I pull up, I drive the wrong way up the thing. I pull up, I have to snake around 4 different times in the parking lot. I pull into a parking space, I get out of my car, I lock it up, I go inside, I log into everything, I do what I gotta do, I get signed in. And I'm like, this is bullshit. So I get my phone out, I go back out there, and I'm like, I'm going to take pictures of this, okay? I'm going to take pictures of this because I don't like the fact that these pricks are blocking up our entire driveway over what looks like something that's already over with, right? It absolutely looks like this whole thing is already over with. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So I say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna go, and I'm not going to like yell at them. But I'm going to go talk to him. I'm going to say, hey, what's going on, man? What are we doing here? And, oh, you bastard. I hate this phone. If I rot in hell, I hope this phone rots there with me. Okay, so here you. I know you probably can't much see it, but there's our gate, and there's the two cop cars parked on the other side of our gate. And I go out there and I start taking pictures, and I said, "Hey." He says, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah, can you move these vehicles?" I said, "There's people out driving up and down right now trying to get to work." And he said, we've got a situation here. I said, "You got a guy up against the fence and you're talking to him. He's not even in handcuffs. There's nobody in the car. The car's in a parking space. The car's 50 feet from my gate. Why is there 3 cop cars parked in front of my gate?" He says, "Well," he says, we're busy doing something, whatever." And then at that point, they realized I was yelling at this one cop about the cars in front of the gate. So they get in their cars and start moving them. I'm like, okay. I said, "Okay, so now you're going to move the cars. That's great." Now, I had called in a complaint when I went in the first time. I forgot to mention that. I had called in and spoke to the dispatcher and said, "Tell these guys to move their cars out from in front of the gate." I said, "This is the TV station. We've got 265 employees here. We got people showing up for the morning shows on the radio stations and the TV stations, and they can't get to work." I said, "Can you please just have your officers move their cars away from the gate? There's plenty of room there to still interrogate and ruin this man's life and all right there on the side. They didn't have to do it in front of our gate." So I was like, I was really aggravated. So the cop looks at me. He walks up into the fence and he says, "You called in the complaint, didn't you?" I said, "I absolutely did, yes." And he says, "You drove that car over there, didn't you? The gray car." I said, "Why? Because you're going to do some retaliation against me?" And he says, "No." So I called back and I asked to speak to the sergeant. The sergeant called me back. I filed a complaint. I said, "Look, he tried to intimidate me by insinuating that he knows what car I'm driving out there." And I said, "So I want this on a recorded phone call that he made a veiled threat for retaliation." And she says, "No problem." She goes, "We don't do stuff like that, but it is on recording just in case." And she says, I'm going to go watch the body cam footage, and I'm going to see, where they parked it." She was pretty nice. I did tell her at one point, she says, "Well, sir, sometimes civilians don't really understand how things work when law enforcement's doing stuff, and so maybe you just didn't quite understand what was going on because you're not a police officer." And I said, "No, but I was one. I was a deputy for 8 years, and I'm a retired fire chief." I said, "I think I know a little bit about public safety." And I said, "Those guys were standing around bullshitting. There was no guns drawn. There was no bullshit. There was nothing going on. Everything was fine. Everything was good. There was nothing going on. But yet they're blocking up our gate." So she says, "Well, I'm sorry. I was just trying to explain it to you. I didn't realize you had been a law enforcement officer." I said, "Look, I didn't call you for cop-splaining. I called you to file a complaint. And so you've got my complaint." I said, "You've been nice. I don't want to be rude. I'm sorry, but I'm going to let you go now. I'm a little aggravated." I said, "Just so you know, I'm going to file a public information request in 7 days, and I'm going to find out if anyone at this department ran my tag." And she was like silent on the other side. And I said, "Are you there?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I said, "I guess that's about it. Have a good day." And she says, "All right, have a good day." And that was it. And that's another thing. I did tell that cop. That cop told me out there on the side of the road, he says, "You know what? I talked to 2 other of your employees, and they were just fine with us being parked here." I said, "Really? Because they're sitting over there right now across the street waiting to get to work." And he says, well, they're just fine with it. I said, they're not fine with it. I said, you guys walk around thinking that everything you do is great and your shit don't stink. And I said, and the reason you think that is because no one confronts you. I said, those days are over now. YouTube is teaching us how to deal with it. YouTube is giving us the empowerment we need to understand how you can deal with cops, how you can be nice when they're nice, and you can give back the bullshit that they're giving you when they're not. And that's what I like about it. And so I pushed back today a little bit. I did. I pushed back. I filed a complaint. I did what you're supposed to do. There was just no reason to block our entrance like that, and there certainly was no reason to issue a veiled threat. I could do the body cam. Let me tell you, I don't care. I don't want the cop, in big trouble or not. He didn't. It's just typical. It's not like there was a big violation or anything, but he did make a veiled threat to try to intimidate me. But again, I'm not looking for anything other than they just need to be told, hey, in the future, you need to be a little bit more courteous. Yeah, I'm surprised too. Their eyes were glazed. There you go. Yeah, I probably should have, I thought about it on the way out there, and it was always, I now have that ability because I've got an audience somewhat, and I've got, a number of subscribers. So if something ever did happen to me where it got dicey, I could go live and get some live witnesses going. But I don't normally confront the police. That's not my thing. It's just not my MO. This one happened to directly involve me and a bunch of my co-workers, and none of them were really willing to stand up, and so I was, and so there you go. But anyway, that's my story of the day, and I'm sticking to it. I'm not anti-cop. I'm actually pro-cop. I was a cop. I think we need our cops. But cops have become so ego-driven and so petty lately that I'm almost ashamed to say I was a cop. And so I don't know. It's kind of a hard place to be for me because I want to support, Oh, I think we just lost Keystone Media. I think that ended up going to something else. Yeah, it sure did. All right, let's do this. I'm not feeling good, guys, at all. I'm going to be going off here in a few minutes. They've become too militarized. It's like they're out. It's almost like they're at war with us. That's kind of what I feel like when I see a cop walk up and all that gear that they wear. It's all stacked up on top of them. It looks so stupid. When I was a cop, we had a standard gun belt. I wore my vest underneath my button shirt. I had a real badge and a real name tag. I had real collar brass on here that indicated our rank, and I had a patch on each arm. It was a good-looking uniform. It was one size bigger than I needed because I put my bulletproof vest on first, my bullet-resistant garment, and then all of my equipment went on my belt. I had handcuffs. I had 2 magazines. I had a radio. I had mace. I had a gun. I had, I don't know. What else? I had a glove pouch in the back. And a taser. What else did you need? I mean, I got all that on my belt. But now they've got all this stuff everywhere. I'm like, how do they even get out and walk or run? And I love it when you got 3 or 4 of those young rookies standing there, and they all look like jackasses, right, with all this stupid shit stacked all over them. And then the old timer comes walking up. He's got the gun belt on and the regular uniform, and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "Oh, can I deal with this guy, please?" Oh my God. A trunk monkey. Oh, is it Heath? Heath, we're not. Because of the Ham Fest here in Hamcation dates, and because of the Winter Field Day dates, which I'm doing with the group up in Tampa, because of those two dates, we had a short window to go to the cabin in 12 days and come back in 22 days. However, I missed the window. My mom says she doesn't feel like she's quite ready, and it would be difficult for me to be able to leave that soon. So we've pushed it back to after Hamcation. We're going to be heading up probably around the 16th or so, or 17th, whatever it is, in February. So anyway, that's when I'll be up. I hope to see you when I get up there. I could get the body cam. It was about a 3-minute interaction. I really don't. It's not that big a deal. I didn't cuss him out. I wasn't like totally nasty. I didn't want to like make an enemy. But I did give him a piece of my mind. They do wear black to be intimidating, and I think that's a problem. They also paint their cars black to be intimidating. These new blackout cars, I don't like those. They're intimidating. The whole thing, everything they do now is to be intimidating, and I don't like that. Yes, Heath. You know what I've decided to do is I'm going to buy my own ham sticks. I'm going to buy a whole set of ham sticks, and I'm going to give you yours back. Because I just like the hams. I do. The Tar Heel, wasn't that what it was? That thing, I never could get it to work. It goes up and down. It goes up and down, but it never seems to get resonant anywhere. And then I also tried an ATOS, which is the one that works with Yaesu radios. And it goes up and down and everything else, but it won't tune either. And I think it has something to do with the car and the magnet mount. So what I'm probably going to do, I'm really pretty sure what I'm going to do, is I'm going to drill a big old hole in the trunk, and I'm going to put a big fat mount on there, right to the trunk. And then underneath the mount, I'm going to do some grounding. I'm going to do some ribbon grounding under there. And see if I can get my SWR better. Are you getting high winds tonight? We're getting some winds tomorrow. They're talking about here. We got a couple of days where the highs are going to be in like the low 60s, and we're going to have a wind chill on top of that. So it for Florida, this is cold. It sucks when people they wait their whole year to come down and spend that week in Florida in the sun, and then we get one of these really bad cold spells. It kind of sucks, but the good thing is down here they don't last long. Usually we get one really cold night and one pretty cold night, and a couple of cool days, and then it's over with, and that's it. I'm going to look up the trunk monkey thing. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with the whole thing yet. I do know the ham sticks work. I'm also going to look at options. I also know something else. Those 5/8 I bought. Remember the 2-meter 5/8 antennas I bought and put on the back of the car? Guess what? They do not work for UHF. They don't. The performance is absolutely dismal on UHF, receiving and transmitting. But they work pretty good on they work good on 2-meter. I have no complaint there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy me some kind of NMO stacked collinear for 440. That's definitely what I want, because I need 440 down here. SARNet is 440, NI4CE is 440. The local club repeater where I'm at up in Tampa, when I go up there to the club, they're on 440. So it just makes sense to me. I even bought little short antennas for my handhelds. I bought these little short antennas because when I go up there, all the towers are right nearby. And you don't have to walk around with a big old antenna. This little teeny antenna is all you need. Oh, that's cool. That's cool, Heath. Yeah, you're going to need it up there. I think it's going to get pretty cold. All right, so let's just run down and see if there's any news we need to mention tonight. Like I said, I'm doing an abbreviated night for those of you who have joined late. I produced the morning show this morning at the radio station. Took Mom to some appointments and lunch. Went back and produced the afternoon show. I left here at 5 o'clock this morning, and I got back at 7:30 this evening. So, I mean, we're talking, I was out of the house for almost 15 hours today. This Tim Walz is a real piece of work, I'm telling you guys. They're making an official call now for him to resign. He's the Minnesota governor. He has presided over probably the biggest fraud that's ever happened. Deploribus, this cold for us here will not be cold enough to kill the citrus, thank God. We have to get below 32 or right at 32, you start getting the frost. In some cases, they can be damaged by frost at like 35 or 36. It depends. It has to be really, really still for above freezing temperatures to hurt, because it'll still frost. If there's a wind at all or a breeze, then that buys you a couple of degrees. But no, right? This is not going to get cold enough for South Florida or Central Florida. Areas up around Tampa and parts north, I can't speak for. It might get cold enough up there. I know where my group is up there, they're looking at 33 or 34 degrees one night. So it's going to be right at freezing. And then since that forecast came out, they've lowered my forecast down here. So, yeah, 29 in Northwest Florida. There you go. Yeah, the airplane propellers. Everybody always wonders why is there an airplane motor mounted on a pole out in the field? Well, that's because if you could keep the air moving, you could save your citrus, because if you keep the air moving, you would think it doesn't make sense, right? Because of wind chill. Why would I want to make it feel colder? Remember, the tree doesn't feel wind chill, okay? All the tree knows is if frost lands on the leaves, it kills them. And so if you can just keep the wind blowing over the leaves, then what will end up happening is that they won't get frost on them, and the leaves will survive, the plant will survive, and in many cases, the citrus that's still hanging on the tree will survive as well. The duration, you're right, neighbor, the duration of the freeze is every bit as important as the temperature. You could have a 29 degree, but if it doesn't get down there but just for a little bit and the wind's howling outside, you're probably okay. But if you get right to 32 and it sits like that for 13 or 14 hours before the sun finally starts to warm it up at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and that happens every now and then. You get a real cloudy morning after a really cold night. It's kind of rare because normally the cold nights down here have clear skies. We have a phenomenon, I don't know how prevalent this is where you are, but down here, if we have a really heavy cloud deck over the top of us, it actually holds in the temperatures down here. And the thick clouds mean we'll actually gain about 3 degrees, 4 degrees. So if it's going to get down to freezing and then we get heavy clouds move in, those clouds will actually keep us a few degrees warmer, because we've got bodies of water everywhere here that are warmer, and it actually creates like a thermal layer in the atmosphere. And so that's kind of a neat effect as well. It all comes together, but we've had years down here where they lose millions in crops, billions in crops. It's terrible. Yes, neighbor. What they do is again, it's a last resort. If you think you're going to lose everything, you turn your sprinklers on, and the water coming out of the sprinklers likely is above freezing. And even though it's going to travel through the air and it's probably going to get cooler, you're probably going to get buildup of ice on the plants. You're probably going to get broken branches, damaged fruit. It's all true. But you could save your core plants by running the water. And I don't know. The times that I've seen where they've run the water overnight, there's a lot of physical damage to the plants. That's the only bad thing about that. It's a last-ditch effort. Yes, clouds raise the cold temperatures in Houston, too. That makes sense. Houston's subtropical like we are. A little further north than we are, but still a little bit subtropical. Yeah, that's the thing. When you get snow down in northern Florida or Texas, a lot of times you'll never get the ground cool enough to accept it, and it won't stick. It'll just melt. Yep, open your cabinets, faucets dripping. Good idea when it's really cold. Yep, it sure is. I've actually got like safety oil heaters at my cabin, one underneath and one in the top, and they are on these special plugs that come on only when it gets down below 36 degrees. And then they come on for like an hour and they go back off. And what that does is these two heaters will cycle and cycle and cycle and just keep my cabin above freezing. That's all. All right, guys, last call. Anything else? Put it in the chat room. I am cutting it short tonight. I've worked. This is a triple. This is my third broadcast of the day. I started my first one this morning at 6 a.m. And I'm very tired, and so I'm going to call it. I'm going to go to bed early tonight. I've had a messed up day. If there's anything else real quick, throw it in chat. Other than that, I am going to let you guys go. Here's the programming notes for the channel. I am going to be on. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll be on tomorrow night at 9 p.m. for a couple of hours like a normal show. And then New Year's Eve, or as I call it, amateur night. Yes, Dom, I agree. I do agree with that. New Year's Eve, I'm going to come on at 9, and I'm going to stay on till at least 1 in the morning. I want to stay on and see what's going on out there. Yeah, tomorrow I have nothing planned but working in the studio until I go to work at about 2:30. So, yeah, I've got all morning in the studio, and then I just go to work and do a show. So it's not too bad. Yes, it's going to be a nice big show. I've got to have special branding for the whole thing, and hopefully we'll get a bunch of folks in. It should be fun. Oh God, what do I do for my lower back when it's out? I mean, it depends on what's wrong with your lower back. You know, I have sciatica issues caused by damage. I was involved in an explosion in 1992 that damaged my back, both upper, middle, and lower. And my upper back experiences all kinds of problems. But when it's good, it can stay good for 6 months, a year. Now, my lower back's a little more tender, but it doesn't go out as bad. I wear a belt. If you haven't ever tried a weight belt or one of those belts that, a big thick belt to go around like workout people wear. You can buy those that actually look pretty nice. They don't look crazy. I've got several that I use. They're inside the house. But yeah, I use that to take the pressure off of my back when it's sciatica. I also I use a lot of Advil, and then I supplement Tylenol in between if I have to for breakthrough pain. As far as and I try not to take. I haven't taken Advil in weeks, but when it gets really bad, I have to take a lot of it. That's why when it's not bad, I try not to take any of it. Let's see, what else can I tell you? I do heat. Cold never seems to help. They say you should alternate heat and cold, but cold never helps my back, upper or lower. Cold always makes it worse, so I don't do cold. I do have a heating pad, and I will lay on the heating pad for a little while. The word of caution there is when you're laying on that heating pad and it's really hot and it feels really nice, just remember you're rotting the food in your guts. I know it sounds crazy, but you can literally give yourself the shits with a heating pad. You can literally cause yourself some lower level harm with a heating pad. So just use it for 20 minutes and then take it off. Don't just lay on it all day because it feels good. You'll eventually cause some digestive issues, short term more than likely, but still you'll cause some digestive issues. This is from someone. I literally would put my belt on with the heating pad under the belt, and I'd walk around my house with it with a tail. I'd have a cord going over to the wall, and I'd walk around with that heating pad literally underneath my big weight belt on my back. And I started having all kinds of issues, and I realized that by keeping that heat on my back for a prolonged period of time, my lower back, not my upper back, but my lower back, it was creating digestive problems. Oh, I have all kinds of arthritis. I have arthritis in my big toe. I've got arthritis in about 4 or 5 different fingers. It's starting to get bad. I've got arthritis, and I know that in my back, a lot of that is arthritic because of the injury. I went in. I'll tell you guys the story one night. I'm not going to do it tonight, but I think I've already told it once on here. But I was involved in an explosion in 1992, and it destroyed my back. And so yeah, so I'm you know, it's difficult. That's another thing. Joseph helped me run some wires. Actually, Joseph ran some wires through my firewall. I can't contort anymore. I can't like I've always been a chubby little guy. I never really was a contortionist to begin with, but it's hard for me to do anything now where I gotta bend into a weird position or crawl up underneath something. It's very difficult. Yeah, Dom, it definitely affects something. I'll tell you that. I've already told you what I know about it. I don't know, but I know that I started doing heat, and then I would take it off after 20 minutes, and I'd leave it off for 40 minutes, and then I'd put it back on again, and the problems I was having went away. It's like anything else in the world. It's all about moderation. Oh wow. Oh wow, old fashioned. Wow. I don't know what to say. I hope that's good. I think it'll be good. Well, good luck to you. Yeah, spinal fusions, they'll give you some relief, but they're generally not that much better when you're done. The one thing you'll never hear in this world is someone say, I had back surgery and it's better now. Okay. All right, guys, I think I'm going to call it. I hate to do it to you. I'd like to stay on longer, but I'm done. I'm done. I played Hamfest Fever earlier. It's a really cool song, but I did already play it, so I'm going to play a different one now. I have come up with some really neat songs here, and I hope you guys like them. Anyway, I'm going to play a few of those now as we start to wind our way out. But anyway, I do want to tell you guys, I really enjoy being here with you guys every night. It is difficult for me. It's a lot of work, but I do really enjoy doing it. I want to do it. And so, yeah, Mama's sleeping behind the TV. I don't know what she's doing. She may not be feeling well tonight or something. But all the kitties are good. All right. I guess that's it. All right, I'm going to leave you with a song about something I really love in ham radio. 6 Meters. The Magic Band. All right, guys, live from Starship Adventures, Starship Studios in Southwest Florida. Good night, everybody. My name's Ian. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. And then, of course, the big show on New Year's. Make sure you make it. And we'll also be on New Year's night as well. We'll be doing some year in review stuff. It should be a lot of fun. All right, everybody, have a good one out there. We'll see you next time. Signing off, 7-3s.
Antenna pointed at an empty blue sky, waiting for magic that passes you by, but then